Sustainability, carbon emissions, and building life cycle assessments are topics that will become increasingly crucial during the design phases. This is why the company Allplan invests in and researches the identification of optimal solutions that can support you throughout all these processes. To this end, Allplan introduces a new interface with a very interesting solution called PREOPTIMA, which essentially allows me to make assessments starting from very schematic models and obtain everything related to our carbon emissions. Let's quickly take a look at an example of how it all works. Here we are inside Allplan, and within Allplan, in the Teamwork section, we find a dedicated feature called Export PREOPTIMA, which provides me with some very basic functionalities. So first of all, let's try to see where this PREOPTIMA solution is located. PREOPTIMA is a completely cloud-based solution within which I can create my project. At the same time, I can browse the vast database of available materials, which contains a whole series of specific information regarding evaluation of carbon emissions. At the same time, we have concepts such as assemblies, meaning that since we are working with schematic models, we will obviously have multiple materials coming into play simultaneously. At the same time, we also have everything related to data sets, and therefore all the key entries and key values that come into play when we talk about structural materials as opposed to materials that define the envelope of my building. Let's now move back into Allplan to see how, if needed, anyone who wants to delve deeper into these topics can access a PREOPTIMA knowledge base, where you'll find plenty of documentation and videos that explain how to use the data once it arrives in PREOPTIMA. On the Allplan side, the procedure is very simple. First of all, I need to create schematic models such as these two cubes, which represent my building. I can select them like this, or let's try deleting this type of selection. I can also make a more advanced selection where I carefully decide each time what is the basement, what is the first floor, and what is the second floor. Or at the very least, you should make sure to select both block 1 and block 2. So once I have carefully made these selections, all I need to do is simply export everything directly to the cloud storage service. If at that particular moment in time I don't have an active internet connection available, I could instead export an OBJ file directly to my local device. At this point in the process, when I'm inside the PREOPTIMA platform interface, I can place my model precisely in the specific geographic area or region that I'm interested in, assign and map all the relevant data sets and materials that I had previously prepared, and make detailed assessments specifically for the basement, block 1 and block 2, in order to reach and achieve benchmarks and performance targets like the ones you see displayed here on the right side of the screen. Let me quickly remind you that Allplan also provides a direct interface with another solution, which is called One-Click LCA. This interface essentially allows me to map Allplan materials with this vast and comprehensive database in order to obtain benchmarks like the ones you see here at the top left of the screen. This process is designed to be straightforward, ensuring you have access to reliable data for your analysis and decision making. For those of you who would like to explore this topic further, I'd like to remind you that on our platforms you can find dedicated events that explain exactly how building life cycle assessment works.